How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Sports Talk Live. We are back after Thanksgiving break. I'm Adam Roberts, and I'm glad you decided to join us because, you know, sports is a lot like that friend you see at home for the first time after so long of time not seeing them. If you haven't seen them for a while, there's a lot to get caught up on, and we've been gone for 2 weeks. We have a lot to cover. Got my friends here alongside me. We're going to get all the big stories. Stefan, Cal, Stuart, how you guys doing?
Really good.
Great.
Thanks, Al.
How's your break, guys?
Super.
Best break ever.
Short-lived.
Don't you just hate like those 2 weeks in between Christmas and Thanksgiving? Like, they're the worst, but it's so short. Everything's compressed. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tease going to home for Thanksgiving, not coming home to Christmas, but
Exams. It's a long one.
It's awful. But you know what remedies that? Talking about sports.
You bet.
agreed.
Can't think of
Everyone
anything
loves
better.
sports, and no one likes to talk about sports better than us. And we're going to start in the realm of NFL football right here in our neighborhood. The Vikings and the Green Bay Packers, 2 teams that are going in completely opposite directions, it would seem. The Vikings, well, they're surging, 8-3 right now, first place in the NFC North. And the Packers, they're struggling a little bit after going 6-0. They're 1-4 their last 5 games, and they can't seem to get any passes made. Guys, what is going on with both of these teams?
Well, Adam, I would say right off the bat, the Packers are struggling. You said it right away. It started in Denver, and it has continued ever since. That lone win we had since then, I think that was a bit of a fluke. And it all comes down to the offense. The defense is playing great. They're only giving up 19.5 points a game, which is 6th in the league. The offense is where we're really struggling, which has been the trademark of the Green Bay Packers as of late. They're 23rd in team passing and only 20th in team scoring. So really that's where it is. It comes down to the wide receivers and Aaron Rodgers not clicking. The receivers aren't beating their mans, and Aaron Rodgers is actually missing more often than we're used to. So I think that's where a lot of it comes down to.
Sure, and I'll add on to that. I feel like at this point, I feel like the Vikings have more of an identity. They're first in the league in rushing. I think they're 30th or 31st in passing. They know what they're good at. They know their strengths. They know their weaknesses. I feel like the Packers are just more inconsistent at this point. One game will be great on the run. Lacey will be involved. The next game, he'll get less than 10 carries. It just doesn't seem like we're as formidable of a team as they were last year.
Yeah, to follow up on that consistency, I mean, it's just been a lack of execution throughout the whole season. I know Devontae Adams has taken a lot of heat recently for the couple drops he's had, but I mean that's going to happen in the league. And so, like as you said, the run game hasn't been consistent every week. Rodgers obviously had some injuries to his shoulder, as we've seen, to his leg and stuff. And then with Lacey being out, it just really hasn't given us a good flow every week of what we can do and how we can execute to the best.
How valuable is Adrian Peterson right now to that Vikings offense? Because Teddy's taking some shots. He's been getting hammered pretty hard by defensive lines. Adrian Peterson being back this year, such a huge, valuable asset. And he can hang that over their heads a little bit now. Like, what do you know?
Sure.
Big surprise.
Like Stephen said, leading the league in rushing and as a team and as an individual.
Yeah.
Well, looking a little bit more about the NFC North, it's now not just a one-team division. There is kind of some stuff up for grabs here, and a little bit of a possible sway might be going on. Guys, what do you think? You got early predictions for how this is going to shake out the last 5 weeks of the year.
Adam, I'll take that one. To start out, I mean, I'm going to go with Green Bay 100%.
Really?
Yeah, we go. Minnesota goes Seattle, at Arizona, Chicago, New York Giants, and at Green Bay. I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction that they don't win any of those games.
Wow.
I know it sounds shocking for some fans, but I don't think that they are going to be able to hold up. I do think that they're a better team than they were last year. Adrian Peterson's running with a purpose. I'm going to say that they finish 8-8, and although the NFC is looking pretty bad right now, that may give them a chance for a wild card. But the way the Lions are playing, I would probably rather give it to the Lions for the wild card. I'm going to go Green Bay. I think they're going to win 4 of their last 5. Detroit, Dallas, at Oakland, at Arizona, and then home to end the season at Minnesota. I'm going to have them winning 4 of their last 5. Arizona playing there might be tough. So I'm going to go with Packers finishing 11-5 and winning the NFC North.
You are wrong. I am going with the Vikings. The Vikings, they've been playing well, as the Packers haven't. Adrian Peterson is going to get ran into the ground with more TDs and more yards as he ever has. He carried them to the playoffs last time, even though it was a wild card and we knocked them out. However, I am a Packer fan, and I believe the Packers are going to get the wild card. and they're going to take it all the way to the Super Bowl as they did in the 2010 season.
Well, if that were the case, and they got the
I'd
sixth
take it.
seed, I would take it if they were going to be in the
Take
Super
it
Bowl.
on.
Maybe beat the Patriots. That'd be great. Stu, what do you got?
I'm gonna have to go with you, Stefan. I agree. I think the Packers are gonna be finishing the season 11-5, and the Vikings. I don't have them as bad as you, but I have them at 10-6, losing to the Packers in a de facto NFC North Championship game on January 3rd in Green Bay. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe I was a little too harsh, but I'm going with it.
No love from any of the panelists for the Bears.
No.
Not today.
they don't even love themselves.
Don't believe in Cutler. Don't believe in the Bears organization.
Smoking Jay Cutler, not going to get it done.
Sure.
Well, speaking of someone who is getting it done, Cam Newton is on fire, and the Panthers are dabbing their way to a perfect record right now. 11-0, 5 weeks to go till they could be 16-0. Guys, could this possibly be done? We saw this a few years ago with New England. 11-0 through 11 weeks, only 5 left. What do you guys think? Any chance?
I think there is a chance. Nobody on their schedule really scares me. They have games coming up at New Orleans against the Falcons, 2 games against the Giants, as well as against the Buccaneers. The only team that's really decent out of those is the Falcons, and they're struggling even. The one thing that Atlanta does have going for them is their defense, and Carolina's offense is a little wishy-washy at times, though they run the ball really well. I think their undefeated season will come down to those 2 games against Atlanta, and specifically the matchup between Julio Jones and Josh Norman.
Yeah, I would second that. I think they do have a really good chance of going undefeated. But at the same time, most of the teams that they're playing are teams that are inconsistent as well. We've seen with Drew Brees and the Saints. One week he throws for 5 TDs, the next week their defense gets absolutely torched for 30 points and give it up easily. And then same thing with the Falcons as well. It started off really hot, kind of like the Packers, and then it really tapered off since then. So I can't really trust any of these teams, to give the Cam Newton and the Panthers a run for their money. So.
And I'll quick get my prediction in here. I think that they're going to win the next 2. That's at New Orleans, home Atlanta. And then I think that they're going to have a bump in the road, whether they're resting players at New York Giants, at MetLife, or at Atlanta. I mean, they play them 2 out of 3 games. I'm thinking that maybe they get lucky and get the best of Cam. But, I mean, that veteran defense, I mean, they got Pro Bowlers all over. So, I mean, I think that they're going to be a serious contender for the Super Bowl. But I can't see them going 16-0.
Fair enough. Did you guys see Luke Kuechly had a monster day on Thanksgiving?
Yes, he
2
did.
picks.
On 2
1
back-to-back
pick 6.
defensive plays, yeah.
Phenomenal.
Defensive Player of the Year, possibly.
Again.
Moving on a little bit, is it 2012 or is it just me? Because the NFL refs are back in the headlines. Uh-oh. And it has not been good. Primetime games have had huge officiating errors. It all started a few weeks ago when the Seattle Seahawks had an obvious bat out that should have been a touchback, but it was called a safety. And ever since then, primetime games have been subjected to some pretty bad officiating. And the Patriots-Broncos game was another example. There was an extra timeout that was added, which was legal, might add, but then the clock immediately started to run when it should have been waited on a little bit. Guys, what is going on? Are these the replacement refs back in disguise, or are we having just some other issue?
I think it has been more of a problem of just it being a primetime game. So I know we've seen a lot with the Monday night game, and then I think there was a Sunday night one as well where they had a pretty big blunder. So overall, in terms of consistency, they could definitely pick it up a bit. But I think it's been more of a problem where it's just been the bigger games, and overall they're not doing such a horrible job. You obviously just don't want them to blow it when it's in prime time.
Sure.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It almost looks like it's Weekend at Bernie's, and they're throwing out some dead refs out there. Especially the one that comes to mind for me the most was a game between the Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Inadvertent whistle, blowing the whistle before the ball's even out of bounds or stopped dead. I think they're under a lot of pressure, yes, but they're not handling it very well. They're supposed to be the best of the best, but they're not acting like it.
Sure, it's to the point where I'm going to the games like Packers, Bears, and on Thanksgiving, and I was expecting it to be inconsistent, and it was. And then also just on Sunday night with the Patriots game, I actually watched with one of my roommates who's a Patriots fan, and the end of that game seemed like an absolute circus. Like you mentioned, Adam, the timeout. I just feel like they lost control of the game, and it just week by week, whatever team you support, it just hasn't been consistent. So I mean, hopefully it turns around. Hopefully this is just a temporary thing, and social media will calm down a little bit on the refs. But, hopefully it turns around because you don't want, end of season and playoff football ruined by, poor officiating like we've kind of seen in the recent past.
I love the throw to Weekend at Bernie's, by the way. That really made me laugh. I thought
Thank
of How
you.
I Met Your Mother for some reason.
Yeah,
Spending
Weekend
the
at Barney's.
Yeah. Stephen, did you say you were at the Thanksgiving game?
Oh, I was not at the Thanksgiving game.
okay.
No, I was not.
I was slightly envious for a
I
second
wish.
there.
We don't have that on the rundown, but how great was that?
Brett
What
Favre.
an amazing thing. Seeing Bart Starr.
Oh, yeah.
That hug was beautiful.
Definitely heartwarming. I mean, Bart Starr, I had heard from a number of people that he was struggling with his health, and it showed. But, what a great moment. That'll be his last time in Lambeau, I'm guessing.
Yeah, most likely.
We're going to move on to local football. We don't often talk about UWL football, even though we are a UWL sports talk show, but big news came out a few days ago. Coach Detweiler has resigned as head football coach of the UWL Eagles. And that's not really surprising, guys, because lately the UWL football team has sort of been the Cleveland Browns of the WIAC. Wins are made up, they really don't matter. 3-7 every single year that I've been at school. Guys, is this surprising to you at all? And what are we looking for a new head coach?
I don't think the resignation is all that surprising. I mean, if you look at his record, he's been here since February 2011, and his record is 16-34 overall and 12-23 in the WIAC. So it's not that surprising. You always hate to see someone have to step down from a position from a lack of success, but I'm not surprised based on the fact that I've only ever been to 3 or 4 games and never won any of them, and they haven't won much more than that either.
Yeah, I mean, and as all Eagles, it's my understanding, like, he had a great work ethic. He was involved in the community, I know, and he enjoyed lacrosse, but, he didn't get fired. I don't know if that's common in, the division that we're in, if that's common. But, I wish his family the best wherever, if he wants to continue his football coaching career. I wish him and his family the best, and hopefully he can relocate and, find a decent job.
Yeah, I think the results really speak for themselves. I mean, 3-7 the past 3 years. You can still be really good at your job, but still get fired, as many coaches do. I think even most of the coaches that get fired, they're really great at what they do, but the results just aren't there. So.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see Chip Kelly. Who knows?
It's an era of change all over the place for sure. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Let's take a look at what you have to offer if you come to UWL. Take it away.
Wisconsin Lacrosse, surround yourself with potential. Surround yourself with lifelong friends. Step on campus and be welcomed with a friendly smile. It's just like home.
I knew UWL was the place for me when I came for a campus tour. Everyone is so welcoming and friendly. The small campus makes me feel at home.
The beauty of western Wisconsin's River Valley can be seen while hiking the bluffs or biking the marsh.
Surround yourself with challenging academics.
Competitive to get in, and your teachers and classmates will challenge you to succeed.
A well-rounded education. Our motto is Mens Corpuscu. That's Latin for mind and body. We're dedicated to the whole person, providing a rigorous education and appreciation for physical and recreational well-being.
Learn from great teachers. Conduct research. Connect with people who will make a difference in your life. Prepare for your exciting future.
Surround yourself with distinction. Surround yourself with UW Lacrosse.
Welcome back, everyone. That certainly was a beautiful promo. I want to come back all over again. I'm graduating soon. I don't care. I want to be a freshman all over again.
When I'm done, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Actually, honestly, I couldn't agree more. Well, we're going to move on a little bit to some NBA talk now. We got 3 straight basketball topics to bring up. And I'm going to start this one off with a little poem, if I may. I'm a little bit of a creative writer myself, and I have a poem for you guys. Well, Kobe has now said, in poetic form, a sad but true fact that's been met with some scorn, that after 20 years of fortune and fame, he is, in fact, retiring from the game.
That's beautiful.
I thought so.
My heart. You touched my heart.
Well, no sooner. It's been 20 years. It's been a long and storied career. He's basically been playing since as long as most of us have been on this planet. Guys, what is your lasting legacy of the man that was the Black Mamba?
Well, Kobe Bryant, simply put, he's a legend. Many would argue that he's a top 10 NBA player of all time. I don't know if I would go that far, but he's definitely one of the top 5 of our generation. Obviously, 5 titles, a bunch of scoring titles speak for themselves. And he is one of the guys that kind of showed that you don't necessarily have to go to college, which I think is still a good talking point for being in the league 20 years. Obviously, it's taken a toll on his body as he has to retire now. And he even said in his statement, it's not a mental thing. He still would play if he could, but his body just isn't there. But nonetheless, he's got an immense body of work and plenty of titles to show for it.
I would have to agree. He is a prolific scorer, one of the best of our era. He's third all-time scoring, 29th all-time assists, which is incredible if you think about the fact that only one person is on the top 25 for both scoring and assists, and that's LeBron James. He goes down as one of my favorite players just because that's all I ever watched. So.
Yeah, absolutely. My first memories of the NBA Finals was his first championship alongside Shaq against the Indiana Pacers. I remember watching it with my parents, Reggie Miller, then you had Shaq and Brian Shaw. And I think he's going to be remembered also to help out David Stern and after Michael Jordan's retirement to expand the game globally. That's what David Stern really did, and Kobe, with the help of Nike and the NBA as a whole, really helped globalize the game of basketball, I think.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant is all time.
Yeah.
Favorite memory of Kobe was probably when the Sacramento Kings were still relevant. I kind of almost forgot where Sacramento was now, but back then, those Mike Bibby days against Kobe and Shaq, that was some good, hard, quality basketball.
Great series.
Sticking with basketball, there's a new face of the NBA that we got to talk about, Steph Curry and the splash zone that is Golden State. 19-0, have not yet lost a game. I just got to throw it out. Where does it stop? Is there any team right now that can possibly keep the Warriors from going undefeated any further? I heard you talking earlier, Stephen. This could go all the way to Christmas. That'd be crazy. What do you guys think?
Yeah, obviously right now they have the best start in NBA history. They're 19-0. They edged out Utah Jazz away last night by 3 points. So right now they're chasing the 71-72 Lakers, who went 33 straight games. Right now they're going to start on a 6-game road trip at Charlotte, Toronto, Brooklyn, Indiana, Boston, and then Milwaukee. And then when they go back home, they'll be the Suns and then Milwaukee again. So actually, the home state team Milwaukee will have 2 chances to take them out if they're still undefeated when they're 24-0 and 26-0. I really didn't feel like going further down the schedule, but at this point, they're playing so well, and I think that they're just going to keep winning.
Yeah, I think no matter what, for the rest of the season, they're going to be the favorite in nearly every game. They're already picked as Vegas odds, the favorites to win the title. They were even after they won last year. So, I don't really see any games that trouble them unless injuries creep up and they don't have their key players in there, which we obviously do see in the NBA. So you never know, somebody could get hurt or something like that. But unless that happens, I really wouldn't bank on them losing too many games.
Agreed. I don't see them losing until potentially Christmas when they play the 13-4 Cavs. Up until then, no team really scares me. Like you said, the Bucks have 2 chances to knock them off, and the Bucks don't scare me right now, and I love the Bucks. So the Golden State Warriors have the top 5 players in offensive rating with Curry, Green, Iguodala, Barnes, and Thompson, and also top 4 in net rating. Their entire team is amazing. It's not just Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. It's going to be tough to stop a team that deep.
Yeah, I feel like Christmas Day, they always bring the best games, and if they're undefeated and LeBron is going to be able to have a chance to knock them off, that'll be the most watched regular season game. That'll be up there with, NBA Finals ratings, I would think.
So you came into your Golden State garb. You're all set. You're ready for this.
That's right. I got a big game tonight, actually. I got to fly
Intramural
back.
playoffs. Or is that next week that starts? Last regular season week.
It is tonight. I might even throw on the Curry jersey for it. So.
Splash.
Well, we're still in the mood of basketball. Why leave? Let's keep on going. You, Stu, mentioned your love for the Bucks, but it has not been a love affair so far this season for the rest of the state. Milwaukee has been struggling to live up to big expectations. A lot of people predicted they would get a 4 seed in the NBA Eastern Conference to get a home game in the playoffs, but right now they are struggling in the bottom rung of the Eastern Conference. They haven't been able to pull up for the big expectations that have been put upon them. Guys, what is going on with Milwaukee?
Like I said, I'm not scared of the Bucks, and a lot of that comes down to the defense. The defense of last year is no more. Last year's defense smothered opponents. They were super long, forced turnovers on 16% of opponents' possessions, which is phenomenal, led the league in that statistical category. This year, that defense is no more. Left with Zaza and Dudley in last year's offseason. The scoring is fine, 97 points per game, middle of the table, but the defense is not there. Greg Monroe can score, but so can anybody that plays against him, so I don't know.
Yeah, and again, in addition to the defense, they were second last year in total defense, and right now their defensive rating is dead last. And I mean, I feel like I know they have some new personnel, but I feel like it has to sometimes fall on the coach. I mean, how do you go from, top 2 to dead last? I think they really need to get it together and try and find their, identity.
I'm going to jump in on that. Did you see Jason Kidd got a little testy a few nights ago? He was going after some people. He was taking names.
It kind of seemed like an act just to, pump up the team since they were on a little bit of a skid, and that's kind of something that coaches sometimes do often.
He didn't drop a soda, didn't he? Did he?
No,
again.
Not that bad. I mean, you can only use the slogan "Own the Future" for so long, where the future has to kind of become the present. So, I mean, I think you have to give them a little bit more time, maybe until after the All-Star break, to really kind of mesh together, since obviously didn't have Jabari last year, incorporated some new pieces like Greg Monroe, who they're now running the offense through. So things have changed, obviously, but they definitely need to turn it around.
Yeah, do it pretty quick. They got that new stadium coming up that's going to be looking real nice, but part of that was they need to do better when they move into that new thing to get people energized, and right now that's not really the case. Packers still rule in this state.
Sure.
We're going to move and take a little turn to college football. It is a Tuesday, and that means at 7 p.m., the new college football playoff rankings will be released. It was another big weekend of upsets and swings in college football this past Saturday. Notre Dame falling at the last second to the weird rat-looking kicker from Stanford, went up on his shoulders, and the field was stormed as always. Guys, it's heating up. There's only really 1 week left of really solid college football before the bowl games. It's conference championship weekend coming up. What do you guys expect is going to shake down these last few weeks before the bowls start?
Well, I hope to see a couple upsets. Right now, at 1, we've got Clemson, 2, Alabama, 3, Oklahoma, and 4, Iowa. And obviously, Iowa and Michigan State are going to be having that kind of play-in game pretty much for who's going to make it to the college football playoffs.
It's going to be a great
but,
game.
I wouldn't count out Florida knocking off Alabama or even North Carolina knocking off Clemson. Upsets happen, especially in big games. Injuries, again, could happen as well. So I think it'd be kind of pretty cool to see one of them get knocked off just to see who would get thrown in for that 4th spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Michigan State versus Iowa, I'm going to go with Michigan State. I just think that they have a better defense and they have a little more to show for. And then Alabama versus Florida, I don't know too much about Florida. I haven't seen them, but I do know that their offense could not get any points on the board again when they played Florida State last week. So I'm thinking Alabama, even though I don't think that they're as good as they've been in the past few years. I think that Alabama, I think it's going to be Oklahoma. Clemson, I think, will take care of business against North Carolina. Michigan State, and then Alabama. Then obviously Oklahoma still in that Big 12.
I have to agree for most of that. I think Oklahoma will be the #1 overall seed, especially with the way that they've been playing. They beat TCU, Baylor. They just destroyed Oklahoma State 58-23 in the Civil War game. And then Clemson at #2, no surprise there. Alabama, though less deserving, I think, than other teams. That's the way it's going to shake out. The committee will pick them at #3. And I have Iowa beating Michigan State. I'm going with my heart, not my head there, to continue their storybook season with a Big Ten championship, getting that #4 seed.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Iowa win it just to see somebody new from the Big Ten. It's usually Ohio State or Wisconsin recently. So.
Yeah.
Good thing no one's been crazy enough to say Ohio State could get in without winning a conference championship. They're the ones that talk about strength of schedule all the time, and, well, doesn't look like that's going to work their way this year if they can't get in.
I don't think so either.
We're going to take a quick break. I hear there's a new sports show that's being played on WMCM. Let's find a little bit more out about it.
Hey, Eagle fans, WMCM-TV has a brand new sports show. That's right. Join us every Monday and Friday to keep up to date with all the Eagle athletics. We'll recap highlights, talk to coaches and players, and keep you up to date on what's happening around campus. Pretty cool, right? The show that I'm talking about is Eagle Nation. So join the crew every Monday and Friday at 12 p.m. to talk about UWL athletics. When you think of sports, think of us, Eagle Nation, on WMCM-TV.
I can't wait to start watching that show. It looks fantastic. All right, well, we're almost set, but I want one more big thing to talk about with you guys. It's getting to be that time of year. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
You should record a Christmas album.
I'm writing poems. I'm singing songs. I should just be a creative writing major. I don't know what I'm doing in this department. But let's talk a little bit about your 2016 sports wish list. Now, we all want things from sports. We all want to see some changes. Maybe 2015 was a big year of change. There's a lot of stuff going on. Extra points are moving back. Playoffs are starting in college sports again. It's been a crazy year. Guys, what do you want to see as we turn the clock on to 2016?
My number one thing is J.J. Watt to the Packers in a blockbuster trade next offseason.
Whoa!
He's from Pewaukee, Wisconsin, hometown favorite. Who doesn't want to play for Packers in Titletown, especially if you grew up a Packers fan? He would only help the defense. He would only help any defense in the NFL. Also, can't wait to see Jordy Nelson come back. And then I'm going to jump across the pond. I want to see the Manchester United manager, Louis van Gaal, get sacked at the end of the year and bring in Ryan Giggs as his successor. It's about time to move on to some more attacking football.
I will second that over J.J. Watt. I would love for him to come back to Wisconsin. I think that's where his heart is, even though he's phenomenal professional. And I mean, he's great face for the state of Texas and Houston. I want to see the Green Bay Packers on February 7, 2016 smash the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Don't we all?
I think my only wish list that I want would be a 8-team college football playoff. So I know they've been talking about it, but we all love the college football playoff, and it's only been 2 years. So throwing in 4 more teams and getting rid of one of those like teams where they play like Louisiana Lafayette or something. You see Alabama play every year. Like they don't really need to play that team, so you can kind of skip that game and then add in another game to play to the national championship. So I think everybody would enjoy it.
Sure. Those are all some pretty expensive presents. I don't think you're going to find them under any Christmas tree. Actually, my wish list already got answered. I just found out it's a high school basketball wish. They have now gone to 2 halves in high school basketball in Wisconsin instead of the 4 quarters that they've been doing forever and ever.
Interesting.
It's going to make them, I think for the kids that are trying to actually play at that collegiate level, just the little things that make sports seem a little bit more like that next level to help you get ready. I'm actually going to be calling the Lacrosse Central basketball game tonight against Menominee. Excited to see Colby King Jr. He did commit to Wisconsin.
Awesome.
2 years ahead of time. He's already going. But that was my big wish list. And I'd actually also like to see a shot clock in high school basketball.
Interesting.
I want to see it maybe
Couldn't
like
hurt.
35 seconds. They just went down to 30 in college basketball to make that, again, feel more like the professional level. So I'd like to see it not just be this thing where it's an old school, we're going to dribble, oh, a minute later, we're just going to keep on passing. No, I want some high-scoring games. I'm not a fan of the Bo Ryan-style offense. I'm just not. Well, this was actually supposed to be Sports Scene today, so we were supposed to have a winner, but it's 2015. Everyone's a winner. Am I right, college presidents? So let's talk a little bit about let's just wrap things up. I don't really know. What do you guys have anything last to say? Because I got something to say at the end.
I'll take it away. I mean, in addition to your Louis van Gaal, Manchester United claim, this past weekend, Premier League team Leicester City,
yes.
The number 1 team in the league, was almost relegated to the bottom division of English football last year. Yeah. 11 goals in 1 goal in past 11 games. I mean, hats off to him. It's a record.
Yeah.
He beat the Manchester United Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Correct.
The famous Dutch striker.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I just think that's great for the league, and it's a good story for Leicester City. They're not playing out of London or Manchester, small club. They're on top of the best soccer league in the world.
Agreed.
So hats off to Leicester City.
Yeah. Jamie Vardy, 5 years ago, he was playing a Division 7 football, and now he's scoring goals in 11 straight games in the Premier League. It's amazing.
Sports.
And before that, he was working 12-hour days in a carbon fiber factory. So it just shows you how much things can change.
Do you guys think that success will last the whole season? Or do you think it's just till now?
They play really well, so I don't see them getting relegated. I do see the possibility of them dropping out of the top 4, but they're playing well.
Yeah.
My last thing I want to say, I was so excited last night to catch the Leafs. I never get to watch my Leafs games because Sportsnet's never on in the United States. I always got to watch it online, and it's glitchy, it's slow. I got to see the NHL debut last night of Garrett Sparks, backup goalie, came up from the AAA Marlies. He pitched a shutout. No goals against Edmonton. I know it's the Oilers. I don't want him to get too excited, but it's a shutout, the first ever debut shutout in Maple Leafs history. Go Leafs, let's beat the Habs. Let's do it. It's not impossible. Well, thanks for joining us on Sports Talk Live. It's been awesome, guys. If I don't see you before the holidays are up, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Nice job, guys.